The village of Capernaum, where Jesus situated himself and stayed for most of the time during his ministry, is actually a Hebrew phrase. It is a phrase that comes from the two Hebrew words kafar, meaning village, and Nahum, otherwise known to us as the name of the prophet Nahum, meaning compassion. These two words are put together to make the phrase village of compassion, also known to us as Capernaum. This was the village Jesus stationed himself during the time he spent in the area of Galilee, because it is where he ministered with compassion towards his people, Israel. And if you think that is interesting, it does not end there, because when we relate the translation of Capernaum with other towns significant to Jesus' life and ministry, it gets even more intriguing. That is because Bethlehem, when translated, comes from two words, the word bet, meaning house, and the word lechem, meaning bread. These two words, when they are put together in Hebrew, make the phrase house of bread. And that is where Jesus was born, in Bethlehem. Bethsaida, similarly, is two words, the first word again being house, and the second being the Hebrew word for fishing. These two words translated as house of fishing, Bethsaida. This was the hometown of the disciples Jesus called to be his fishers of men. Then we have Gethsemane, which when translated means olive press. And last but certainly not least, we have Jerusalem, which is a Hebrew phrase translated as city of peace. Taken all together then, we have Jesus, the bread of life, John 6:48, being born in the house of bread, Bethlehem, Matthew 2:1. His ministry, where he healed and had compassion on many, is centered in the village of compassion, Capernaum, Matthew 4:13. His disciples, Peter, Andrew, Philip, Jacob, and John, whom he called to be fishers of men, Mark 1:17, are all from the house of fishing, Bethsaida, John 1:44. Jesus was under pressure to the point of sweating blood and was arrested in the olive press, Gethsemane. And he provided peace for the world, Colossians 1:20, by being crucified at the city of peace, Jerusalem. And if you think all this is a coincidence or that Jesus created all these details of his life, especially where he was born, then you would be correct on the second part. But what that means then is that he is much more than just a man, because a mere man cannot control the details of his life to that extent, especially when it comes to where he was born and where he was killed by those who were trying to discredit him. And then to put the cap on all of this, when Jesus was crucified, Pilate put an inscription over his head that read, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. The Greek text goes to then inform us that it was written in Hebrew, not Aramaic, which is a different Greek word, Latin and Greek. The Hebrew phrase in discussion is Yeshua ha-Natzari u'melech ha-Yehudim, which literally translates as Jesus the Nazarene and King of the Jews. But what is most interesting about this is that when you take the first letter of each of these four words in Hebrew, you have the letters Yod, He, Vav, He, the exact spelling of the Hebrew name of Jehovah, also known as Yahweh. If you would like to get more information like this, do a Google search for Gospels Chronologically Interwoven by M. G. Murphy.